my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Today is Block Wednesday. Also, you want to stay to the end because after we talked about Block Wednesday, I've got some quilts in the news, which includes an event that you can get $20 off using my coupon. It's a CNT event I want to tell you about. And we have another 10th anniversary giveaway. Yes, there's still more this month. So exciting, so exciting. Okay, so what's in your closet? This is our Block Wednesday. I have already given you the layout. So in case you missed it, here is the layout. And so the first block this month, we are doing one of the big boys in the pattern. And it is called Aprons. So here is the block. And this is what the patterns look like. And I thought I would just show you real quick in case you're new to my Block Wednesdays. I want to show you what the patterns have in them. So I did this double-sided. So let me just take the clip off. So we've got the pattern and a little bit about what the story is. And then it's a very loose, open pattern. There's lots of space. So you've got directions on how to put the block together. And then I always give you a layout sort of for people who don't want to read directions. You can just go here and get the information. Plus, in this particular block of the month, as I said on the supply list, I am giving you, for the blocks that are not 12 inches, I'm also giving you the block in 12 inches. So for those of you who prefer to do this symmetrical layout, so here it is, the 12-inch alternate, if you don't want to do the 24-inch, which is so fun. Then I always give you the block shown in repeat somehow. This is just a side-by-side, no sashing, which is 72 by 72 because these are big blocks, and then a coloring page. If there is half square triangles involved, the last page always has about the half square triangles. So, aprons. Let me tell you first about what's in your closet. I figured I'm going to sew with the drawing room, and we haven't done a theme like this yet where we talk about clothing. And all of us wear clothing. Many of us sewed clothing. We made clothing as one of our entry points to learning to sew. At one point in time, there was home ec classes, and a lot of us learned to sew some basic things in home ec, and that's how I learned to sew. It was probably 1973 or 74 in high school, maybe 73, that I learned how to sew. I forget what I made even, but I tell you what, when that teacher told us to turn on the machine, the angels sang. It was like, oh, what is this? I love this. This is so awesome. And so I just enjoyed every single moment of home ec. And I thought, what is the one to kick off each block is going to talk about some sort of item of clothing. And I think it'll be really fun to reminisce, fun to think about whether you've actually made that type of clothing, whether you use that type of clothing. But the first thing I thought I would kick off with is aprons, because as a quilt maker, many of us may have made aprons. So that if you've never sewn clothing before, you might have made an apron. And I thought I'd show you my aprons. I have 4 at the moment. I have had many more over the years. This one was a gift. It was a gift from my friend Jane in Australia with the koala bears. And then I have, they're all gifts, by the way, all given to me. Here is one that's sort of like, it's like this wraparound style, so it's got some, so it's got like a ties in the back. My granny used to wear an apron when she worked at the farmer's market. I think she also wore like a little coat thing. This was also a gift. Look at that. So I have to be careful of the mic here, but yeah. So cute. That one's with coffee fabric and red, everything red. And the last one was also given to me, and I haven't used it yet. So it's still got a tag on it. And this was, I think, a store-bought one. Yeah, this is a store-bought one since it's got the tag on it, right? So isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? I don't want to get it dirty. So, all right, so that's kind of the backstory. We will be walking through our closet, what's in our closet, and each week talk about aprons. Each week we'll talk about a different item. This week we talk about aprons. And so when you make your block, show me something about aprons. Now, if you have made an apron, you can of course just show that, but I would really love you to show it with your block. Now, I am going to use Drawing Room, my fabric line from Benetech, so let's go on the other side. Well, I have a basket of my Drawing Room here to work from because my yardage that comes from the company from Benetech is quite large, and so I just chopped off some pieces. I do need to chop a little bit bigger pieces, but we're going to just use up what's in here and then work with those. So I'm going to use the lightest background from the line, from Drawing Room. I'm going to use this lightest background, and then I have a couple ways to go, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to audition that. So I'm not cutting anything yet. I don't want to cut anything yet. So let's say there's a big center block in here. It is, what size? I don't remember, 8.5 by 8.5. So it is quite large. And this is not, the mock-up is going to be smaller. But I could use one of the fabrics, let's say like this medallion that's a blue and yellow, and I could make this block maybe more blue. So the corners would be easy if I want to do light corners like that. But then what do I put in this darker part? Let me put the pattern over here. So there's a darker part here that, you know, what do I do? So I have a bunch of options. I could do the paisley, but what happens? That paisley, it's blending, isn't it? Blending, blending, blending. So it is really not the best option. So I could do, there's not a deep dark blue, you know, so I could do this medium blue, which does set off quite nicely. So there's enough contrast between all three of this, enough separation between all three of them. If I wanted a little bit darker, what does this one look like? So look at that. Even though, you know, you would think maybe it would feel the same as this paisley, but the paisley is got a lot of pattern on it, and it's quite dense. You know, there's quite a lot here. And so what happens is it tends to have a whole different feel than this one. So that's, to me, that's a really great block. Now you could in the middle instead put a great big pattern, like you could do, here's, this is like the tan. How does the tan, and then those flowers have blue in them, so it does give a different feel to go like this or like this. See, with the tan in the middle. But if we did the tan in the middle, what if instead we went with some of the darker, you know, the browns, So there's kind of browns and blues in Drawing Room. We could use a black. There's, you know, if you want to get the medallion in here, you could use the black medallion there and do these as the corners. Or you could use this smaller black paisley. I also tend to, if there's any kind of selvage showing, I like to put that underneath so I don't have that white line showing somewhere that makes me think something's going on because it's part of the fabric. You know, there are others, like there's that little print. Here, let's see. We've got a few more things to try here. We could do this tan out here like that, blacks, and then, so these are really high contrast versus, you know, still a lot of change, but this is quite dark. But because it has so much brown for the paisley, it is showing fabulous contrast. There's lots of contrast, but there is a lighter one. And then there's also the buttons, or the little like millefleur circles. So those could be out here like this, which I think is a little you know, they're just too dark. But what if we did this and we put it there just like we had done on the blue? We used it in a position there. And so I think I'm going to go with the black. And I think I'm going to go, should I go like either this way? And they're all going to show up on the white. This almost white. It's like a kind of an ivory. This way or the paisley out here. The paisley out there. I kind of like the paisley, and then the black on black kind of medallion. Doesn't that look rich? Okay, and then this is a big piece, so I can fussy cut. I've got a bigger piece here. I can fussy cut an 8-inch image out that looks really nice, so I get a bunch of the larger florals in the 8 inches. So let's do that. Well, guess what I did? I cut out that center, talked you all the way through it, and I didn't film any of it. Somehow I didn't get the click, didn't click to filming. So that block is cut, the center. And basically, let me just show you the basics. I'm not going to cut another one, but I'll just show you where I'm at with that. So I am using a 12.5-inch ruler. You could use that. You could use a 10-inch ruler. If you have an 8.5-inch ruler, use that. Whatever you have. And so basically, I am going along with that ruler, you know, being sure that I'm just looking at the zone, this 8.5-inch zone, and I'm finding where I could get the most number of flowers into that. And basically it's 3, no matter how I look. And so this is how I ended up with 3. And I like how the stems come from down here, you know, and that'll be the bottom of this center for me. I know some of you may not even think about that. Like here, to me, this is like this, their flowers are coming from the side. Here they're coming from the top down. You know, I'm a very directional for the fabrics. I always look at the direction of the print. So I want them from the bottom. Now I want to show you that on this next part, this kind of peak, this thing that might look like a little house kind of, that guy, I did it with half square triangles up here because that has very little waste. So there's a very little waste with that. You're basically using all the fabric to make 2 half square triangles, but a lot of people would prefer this as sew and flip. So if it's a sew and flip, what you would be doing would be a 4.5-inch tall rectangle by 8.5. You basically would need another one of these. So you have this one here. If you want to do this as sew and flip, you would create a second one up here for up here, and then you would do a 4.5-inch squares for the 2 sides to do sew and flip. We are doing a 5-inch square in order to make half square triangles. And so that is what I will do. And don't forget that Kendall, our ambassador, also is doing a video for this sew along. And so you want to go see what kind of tips he has. So I've got 4.5-inch by 8.5-inch, which means I need that bigger ruler. I need a bigger ruler, so I have a, this is a 6.5 by 12.5, and so I will use that one. And you know, my brain works a certain way with these kind of rulers, and so I need to be here. This is how it works well. So I need to go 8.5 this way, 4.5 up, and I could fussy cut. I see something here where I can get sort of like the 2 medallions, because I can't get them kind of even unless I come down, which means, you know, using up a little bit of fabric that I don't need to on the end. See here. So you see these medallions? So I would like to get sort of 2 of them in that 8.5. So this is cutting that one off a bit. So I will shove it down, take a strip off of here, and now my 8.5 is here. Where is it? So I want to do 8.5 right here, kind of like looking 8.5. Okay, you could be measuring, but I just do it visual because I am not that as particular. But for those of you who are very particular, you can measure. Okay, so there we go. So now I've got these 2 medallions, and that is the bottom part, this part. And if you were going to do sew and flip, you would have big half square triangles that you would put on top and flip over. I am going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest and make my big half square triangles. Whoops, here, these half square triangles. I'm also going to go ahead and cut these units, and then I'll be back to show you all the pieces cut before I sew. Here are the pieces ready to go. Half square triangles, and those corners. So here's the pattern. Remember, this is a big block, 24 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this. Here is one portion. This is the center, and here's a top and a side and a corner. So there's like another side, the bottom, another side over here. And so it's, you can see how big the block is. Here's the other pieces. So I will just get this sewn up. And ta-da! Here's my apron block for what's in your closet. Let me hold it up. This is a perfect block for using those large scale prints that you own. This whole quilt along I think would be great for that because you have several big blocks that are going to showcase that fabric for you. So if you've been sort of holding on to some of those large scale prints, get them out, or use my drawing room like I am. Look how fun this is. It is a big block. It is big. So I put on my, here, I'll put it here. I don't even have, I could have taken this down, right? So that I could have hung it up here. Oh well, you know how it goes. I just wasn't thinking. There, I'll just hang it there for now. So, so we do have a few other things here. There's like what's in the news. First of all, there is an event. Michelle in Arizona sent me this sweet card, and she told me that she was just finishing a quilt up using the little Christmas people fabric that I showed a few weeks ago. These are, so she said that she just had to send me her extras of the people fabric. I am so excited. This is a basic gray line from, I don't remember its name, but it was from a few years ago, and I have these little blocks that I'm making with these in the middle of each one, and you know, now I have a little bit more room, wiggle room with some extra fabric, so I so appreciate this. Mwah. Thank you, Michelle. And then a longtime friend of mine, Bonnie in Colorado, sent me a very sweet note, a Valentine card. A Valentine card, in fact. Look at this. Look how cute that is. Along with, she sent some treats for Greg and I. Lovely treats. Thank you. And here's why she was sending this. She said she was shopping and saw the little plushy mushroom guy. And what's funny is that Bonnie says she hasn't seen much mushroom stuff. Now you will. Now that you bought one thing, you will see mushrooms everywhere. Look at the little hearts. So darn cute. Thank you, Bonnie. Bonnie and I actually met. She took a workshop from me when I was out in Colorado. I think she figured out it was like 16 years ago. So it was a really long time ago, and I appreciate, Bonnie, that you still keep up. I love you. Mwah. Called the Quilter's Color Mix. And this is with CNT Publishing. There are 10 different designers, and this is on February 3rd. And so it's an event where you can get $20 off with my coupon code. So use my link and my coupon code and you get $20 off for the event. 10 classes all on color from different instructors, and it should be really, really fabulous. The other ones they've done have all been a huge hit. You guys have even written me, told me how much you enjoyed those classes, and so I hope you decide to get in on this one. They should be available afterwards as well, so that you can just, if for some reason you can't watch it on that day. So it's super good, $20 off this event. Several people sent this link, which is in the description box, to a library in Spokane, Washington, where the librarian decided to start a craft exchange in the library. So I think that is so cool. That'd be really neat if other libraries sort of jumped on that bandwagon and provided some way to exchange goods. You know, bring in a fat quarter, take a fat quarter. Bring in a skein of yarn, take a skein of yarn. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but how cool is that? And Jenny sent me a link to an exhibit in Clifton Forge, Virginia, which is down south in Virginia, way down south. So if you are in the south and traveling up north through Virginia at some point near Clifton Forge, before the beginning of March, so between now and like the first week in March. It is at the Historic Masonic Theater. They are running an exhibit of quilts from Kay England. So a lot of you know who Kay England is. So they have an exhibit of her quilts, which are all women in history. So each quilt is themed about women in history. There's a book about the quilts, and then I believe the quilts are all being raffled. And so you can see, raffled to make funds for the historic theater. So you can see all the links in the description box here at YouTube. And the last thing I have for today is a giveaway, another giveaway from Benartex, a layer cake of my drawing room fabric. So if you win this, you can make the perfect 10 along with us, or make whatever you want, but it'll be really, really fun for one of you to win this. It'll be shipping from Benartex. It'll give you a week to enter this contest, and you'll go to my website today. Never at YouTube. Remember, never at YouTube. You always go to my website to enter, unless it's the sewing machine. The sewing machine, you're going to their special form page where you're entering over there at their website. So there we go, a layer cake of drawing room. Okay, now I just wish I'd made that block in blue as well, because now I want to see what it looked like in the blue fabrics. I don't know. Maybe I might cut the blue fabric up as well and just make a second one just to see what it looks like, because this could be a great door banner too, don't you think? Could do just one of the blocks. This is one I've used several different times through the years, this block, and this in bigger size, because I just love it so much. Love, love, love. All right, my friend. Thank you for being here. All right, my friend. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online with giant quilt blocks.